That's all. Well, yeah, the audio is recording.
Oh, it's all good. Welcome back to Down to Get Down. We appreciate y'all coming through. I am your co-host, Romel.
And your boy, Derek.
Hey, we got to welcome back our special guest. See, hey, I'm getting smooth with it just a little bit. But we got our special guest again coming back to my left. We have our boy Jackson Henderson, the man, the myth, the legend over Romero Records and DMG.
What's going on,
Damage
everybody?
Media Group. You know the vibes. And across from me, we got another one. We got one of the artists. We got one of the upcoming. He's already out here, but hey, we trying to get him up. We trying to get him up a little bit more. Trying to go through the roof. What we say? We trying to be wealthy, not famous.
Yes, sir.
You know the vibes. My boy Coffee coming through. How you doing? Yes, sir. But yeah, as far as the music, we talking about the album thing.
Yeah, I was going to bring up, saying it's a whole nother conversation, is like the use of fillers. And that's something that I cannot stand. So I don't know if some people realize this, but like a lot of times people will make an album that is either like 10 songs long or like 20 something songs long.
Yeah.
Not naming any names, Drake. But Drake will put out like an album that has like 20 something songs on it. It's like, hey, my guy, you could have just gave us 2 songs. And he did that with, I think it was Views, where he said it's not an album, it's a playlist or something like that. Or it might have been another album, I can't remember. But
You
like,
pissed me off with that.
yeah, it's like, dude, I don't need 20 something songs because people probably only remember like 3 or 4 of them max. So to your point of just only listening to singles, and this world is a singles game now. Like a lot of people don't even care to listen to an album.
Yeah,
I
because
prefer
the only
EPs over albums.
Yeah.
the only 2 albums that I've ever just listened to that I like the majority of the songs are what is it? The Villain and Superhero by Metro, and then this one for Spider-Verse,
Okay.
both by Metro. But the majority of the songs that are on there are I like, and I have them on my playlist. And it's not like a lot. I think it's maybe like 12 or something songs on there. But all of them, for the most part, are pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of a good album, but if you ain't got all bangers on there, then don't give it to me.
Yeah, I also like his has like, more so the first one. Well, technically both. They have a theme. So if you play it in order, it's they all tell certain parts of a story. So the Villain and Superhero was coming out of like retirement to be a hero, and then also being like, well, I can either be a hero or a villain, and then going through that of like towards the end, like anti-hero type of thing. And then this one is telling part of the story of the movie, going from how like Gwen was feeling alone, and then going to meet Miles again, and then Miles trying to get home, and then all that other stuff. And so both of those have like a storyline to them that I like.
Yeah, like song order is really important. Like even with the Come to DMG album, like when I was doing the song order, I really wanted to be like, okay, how can I start this off, keep people's attention, and then also like have a good finisher. And so the first song we actually recorded for the album was Remedy. And so that's actually the first song we actually ended up putting on the album was Remedy. And it was because we had, just letting people listen to the songs that were on there, Remedy seemed like the fan favorite. And so I was like, well, I really try to make this as raw and commercial at the same time. And I feel like what's going to catch people's attention is Remedy. So that's why I put that first. And then just kind of kept people's attention going down the line. And then we kind of had like an intermission. It was like Savior, because it was such an emotional song. And then we like came back in with No Missing, where Coffee loves that song.
I love that fucking song.
And then and then we just finish out. And Complicated with Sony and Diari is exactly that. Like there were some articles that got put out about the album, and people were talking about Complicated was complicated because it's got like 2 completely different beats on it, and then their styles were different on there. So it was really cool to end it with that because, especially Sony killed it because he's talking about like he's like in 2019, and then he's talking about like different years, what he was going through in life, and it's just like this great, old school boom bap type sound to it, and I'm just like, that's how you end the
Dog
song.
cold.
Yeah, I was like, that's how you end an album. So like song order, but just like the songs that are in the album will make a good album. And so if you hate albums, you probably hate the way people are putting those albums together.
Yeah, like if there's one that, like if they have too many songs in an album, I'm not most likely ever gonna listen to
Chris
it.
Brown's albums.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like,
he just put out like a 20-something song album.
Every
didn't he?
time.
Put 40.
Every time.
Yeah.
He's done it.
Oh my
40
god.
songs.
I'm never gonna listen to it. I will listen to songs individually, but I will never check out the album.
But that goes to what you had said, Coffee, that stuck with me, like making stuff that you want to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you putting out 40 some songs, at that point, the people that are listening to it is your niche audience.
Yeah.
And that's who gonna stick, and that's gonna stick. And that seems like that's the name of the game now, is whoever your niche is,
Yeah.
that's the people that's gonna be your bread and butter. Versus
So I'm not sure what else you have planned for us to talk about, but this is something that we were talking about earlier.
Oh, no, you good.
Was the Chick-fil-A and the Bud Light
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Knowing your audience and
Yeah.
whatnot.
the Chick-fil-A knew what happened.
Oh,
to
we were
Chick-fil-A?
talking about the Chick-fil-A and like the Bud Light situations of how like people were upset with them, and then they were pretty much like talking shit about their audience, like or their main consumers or whatever.
Because like Chick-fil-A knows who their audience is, right? Like, or they don't really cater to Christian people, but like they are a Christian company, so they're closed on Sundays to observe a day of worship, but also they say to give their employees a break because it's like, hey, you've been working for 6 days, here's a break. But on top of that, like you're not going to see a bunch of ratchet people going to
You don't.
maybe Dixie Queen, but
Depending on the part of town.
They're not gonna put a Chick-fil-A in the red party.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. I think you have to have like, I think I heard the average median household has to make at least 50 grand for Chick-fil-A to be in that area. It's something like that.
Yeah,
That's
did
crazy.
did you hear that they're taking Walmart out of Chicago? Like
Taking out
The whole city
completely.
of Chicago?
for the most part, well, just the bad areas.
Oh wow.
They chose that, but not the whole city of Detroit.
Yeah, pretty much.
They just went for Memphis next.
No, I think actually I think they did pull out some from Detroit too because of all of the looting and they also flooded one too. They set fire on the inside and let the alarms go, and it flooded the entire Walmart.
So they just doing whatever.
Pretty much. And so they were like, they're losing a whole bunch of money, so we got to pull it out. And then when they said that, everybody called them racist because Walmart's in predominantly black areas. So,
They are.
and they were like, we're just trying not to lose money. We had this for y'all, but y'all destroyed it.
I wonder when Walmart made that shift. That shift to being like, oh yeah, you're the ghetto.
You niggas is crazy. Is what Walmart wanted to say.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. That's when Target came in and was like, we're Target.
No,
True
no.
that.
Oh, so I had a question too. How do you feel about labels or whatever that use people that have like died and they have like a whole bunch of songs lined up, like X, where you have like a whole bunch of songs
Like
lined
Juice
up,
WRLD.
and they still put them out even
Yeah.
though the person like died, and they'll put them out for like a few years.
Yeah, so I believe that is okay, and it should definitely be discussed with us. So what they call the people who are the survivors of somebody who has passed away, they call them the estate. So you might have recently heard about the Pharrell and Robin Thicke versus the Marvin Gaye estate. What happened was Pharrell and Robin Thicke sampled a song from Marvin Gaye, which was "Blurred Lines," was the song that
remember that.
Pharrell and Marvin Gaye put out, and it was sampled from, I forgot the song from Marvin Gaye, but the judge ruled in favor of the Marvin Gaye estate, so they had to pay Marvin Gaye's family, X amount of money, But yeah, I mean, we've had the cases of XXX Tentacion. We've had the case of even I believe Mac Miller has had some stuff put out after his death. Plenty of artists have had tons of music put out. Tupac is still putting out albums,
Yeah.
doing holographic concerts.
Right.
But yeah, I think it is a good thing that we can still, live on. Like we still have,
Catalog.
yeah, we act like Elvis is still alive here in Memphis. So it's a good,
Have you been to Graceland?
yeah, it's a good thing. But at the same time, it should definitely be discussed with the people who are maybe family members and stuff like that, because it's a sensitive subject. Like imagine if somebody had stuff written about one of your family members, and then they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna just release this when I want to and make money off of it."
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward.
Yeah, I feel like if they're giving money to the family, I feel like that's fine.
Yeah.
But if they were just profiting, because like I don't know how all that stuff works. I know a lot of people just say that like they singly just profit off of it, and I've always thought that like maybe they give it to the family too. Like even though they'll profit off of it, but they still give money to the family as well, since that was their relative.
Yeah, usually it's kind of like a will. In your
Yeah.
contract, you want to have the money that you're supposed to get and who the next person in line should get if you were to pass. But they usually just keep it for themselves, or they give it to whoever if they had a person to give it to, because they might not know who to give it to.
Right.
That happens in wills all the time. Like people die every day, and they might not have a will, so the government doesn't know who to give your stuff to because you didn't have a will. So everybody get a will.
Please.
That's a crazy thing for like, because like artists like you as well, is like it's kind of a crazy thing to think about, to be like, I need to probably like whenever like God forbid, because we were talking about like anything could happen at any moment, God forbid. But like in those situations, it's like, how would you want to be remembered? It's like, dang, some people will be like, I don't want anyone to be in dropped because I did not like it. Like we were talking about in the past episode about putting out something like you like, I don't know if this is gonna hit. I don't really like it, but other people like it. It's like the same thing. You about to go, you're like, bro, I probably got like 100, 200 songs. Like Lil Wayne got like 200 plus of just stuff that he ain't just dropped. And then when he dies, it's like, are we gonna hear everything?
Yeah, because I mean, like X, he had songs that weren't even finished.
Yeah.
and they still dropped them,
And they
they
made-
just had people be
Yeah.
a feature on them.
Yeah.
And even that, I sometimes feel is a little weird if somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be a feature on this dead person's song."
Yeah, like ooh, clout.
I was
Oh,
in,
God.
I was in Nashville this one time in the studio, and this guy pulled up a session, and it was one of Juice WRLD's songs that was unreleased. And I'm like mixing this session. I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like I know Juice is not here anymore, and I'm listening to music that he hasn't even put out.
Yeah,
And I'm like, this is kind of strange. And I mean, it's kind of weird to think about, what to do with that kind of stuff, and knowing that people have access to your voice and that nobody else has heard that's a very strange thing. So yeah, it should definitely be discussed with like family and all parties involved, so that we aren't putting it out in the wrong hands and people aren't just, profiting off of people's work, that, it should be going back to the proper authorities.
So on that, how do both of y'all feel about how they're using AI to copy artists' voices and making like completely new songs?
Didn't we talk about this the other day? Like about
I think
AI?
so,
Like
yeah.
how we said it was over with?
Go ahead.
He said it was over with. Oh, dang.
Like,
Hold
we
up,
just,
man.
we just gonna just start going fully automated and just not doing any
He's
of
like,
the
fuck
work.
being in the booth. I ain't got to be.
Right, because they be having like Patrick Star do R&B.
Bro, have y'all
And-
heard Never Would Have Made It by Patrick Star?
Yes.
Or they have like right now they have like a rap battle going on between Plankton and Mr. Krabs, and it actually sounds really good.
It's hard.
Yeah. So me personally, I think. So I actually saw a YouTube Shorts on this recently, and it was a guy talking about Kendrick Lamar has a song that he recently did. I don't know what it was from, but he was talking about AI can't copy Kendrick pretty much. Like in his verse, he says something along the lines about how AI can't copy him, and I think the guy who made the video had a really good point. He starts talking about how lyricism is going to start coming back. because you can copy a style and a flow with AI. You cannot copy lyrics. And me and my wife were actually, y'all remember that the Drake and who was it? Drake and the Weeknd song that got
Yes.
really popular.
To my crew love.
No, the AI one.
It was
It's
the AI
called,
one.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So that song dropped, and it sounded just like Drake and the Weeknd, but we realized that you know how Drake says "yeah" a bunch.
Yeah.
Well, he kept saying yeah, and like it was just he kept saying yeah, but it was kind of like a little too much or too excessive.
It wasn't a Drake, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and you could just kind of tell. It's like Drake wouldn't say that, but that's pretty close though.
Because he pauses. He has a little airtime in between. He'd be like, yeah.
So that's the one thing that's going to be different is humans. You can't copy human lyrics. An AI can get close, but it can't talk just like Kendrick Lamar. It can't think and imagine and create like Kendrick.
So
That's going to be the difference.
So to that, because you can also copy somebody's flow in the way that they speak, but you can type out how you want it to be said.
Yeah.
And so I feel like because from when we first started listening to AI, it has dramatically advanced within like 2 months, basically. So I feel like it might be able to get there if people like do it right, because they have like, I don't know if you guys have like ever seen the whole things where they'll have like the presidents playing like Call of Duty. And so you have like Joe Biden saying some crazy shit, and you have Donald Trump, and then Barack Obama.
Donald Trump be on his ass. He be in there, he be like, don't talk to me, fucking pussy.
And so I feel like as time goes on, I feel like people will figure out how to do that because they'll realize that is a problem. And I just feel like it's cool now because people do it as a joke, but if you have places like TikTok, they get paid from doing that because of the views that they receive from that. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's wrong because you're using somebody else to profit off of.
Yeah, it's probably gonna have to get. They're gonna start demonetizing a lot of it. Like when it comes through, it's gonna be like, okay, this is just for shits and giggles, jokes or whatever. Like the Patrick and Squidward thing. Well, not Squidward. Yeah, Patrick. The whole SpongeBob.
Yeah, they have like everybody.
Yeah, so like in situations like that, I feel like, oh, this is funny. This is like this is technically a different art.
Yeah,
because this is something to the side.
Yeah.
Or they might start pressing that too with cartoons. They'll be like, all right, we don't want you using our characters. It's like if you use a Disney character, you can't use Mickey Mouse and do that.
They actually did a lawsuit for Meat Canyon because he did the stuff with Bugs Bunny. And if you've ever seen him, it's very weird because he purposely makes it his goal to ruin the image that you have of all of your childhood cartoons. So he makes them
bad.
really
Hop on down the Buddy Trail.
Yeah, like I can't. He's like, you got a tight little
man.
You got a tight little man pussy on you.
Oh my god.
He's like,
He was talking to Elmer Fudd.
yeah, really,
Yes.
yeah.
It's so bad, bro. It stinks good.
Stinks good, nice and sweet, and all this other stuff.
His dad was like, no bugs. He said, but I must. The temptation
but
is so strong.
they actually tried to sue them because they said
For like
that,
defamation?
Yes, actually, defamation and copyright. Even though he draws them to look dramatically different than how they normally look, and he's
the
actually
likeness.
been sued a few different times for defamation because he also does stuff on other YouTubers, whatever his name is, Avocado, the really fat dude, like eats a whole bunch of food all the time.
Yeah.
He made something about him, and I believe he tried to sue him because he said this was like defamation. But I mean, it is pretty much what he does.
How famous do you have to be before you can be defamed?
Well,
Like,
That's a
where's
good question.
what's the bar? Because like,
Are they really famous? Though?
yeah, because if I just have an opinion of somebody and I just speak it, like, can you just sue anybody for defamation? Like, how famous is it? Just up to the judge? Like,
I get because
Parodies used to be legal, and they stopped doing those.
it's because they set parameters, so you have to follow that in order for your parody to be a parody. because they cracked down on it dramatically when people were doing like reaction videos. And so it is free use and you can use the videos to react to, but there are a lot of people that weren't talking. So they would sit there, not talk, and they said, well, you have to make it different because essentially you're just showing a video and you're there and you're profiting off of the person that you're watching. And so you have to add more so people will talk or they'll pause it and talk about whatever and they'll do like challenges, like try not to laugh and stuff like that. And so that was the way to get around that.
Yeah, me and Ryan do DMG mix reviews where we just take music, we listen to it, and then we give a review on how the song was mixed. And we recently started streaming it with OBS, and so that you can see, like a music video or whatever. And the first one we did Lil TJ June 22nd, and like it got blocked. So the first
Swatted
one
instantly.
the
I'm
first
talking
one
about
we
this.
did. So and other songs that we've done have been partially blocked because YouTube picked up on the music. But since we used a video,
Same thing happened to us.
Yeah, we literally had like one little thing in the back. We didn't even have sound. We had we didn't even have sound. This was before we had our logo. We just put like some vibes in the back. And it was like some ambiance.
Yeah,
and
and
then they
it was-
caught one piece.
It was literally just one small second of a part of a song, and somebody tried to copyright it, and it wasn't even their original song because they had that song on a song that they had, and so they tried to like copyright us, but we appealed it.
So I wonder, how far. Again, that goes back to my question, like the being defamed and stuff like that. It's like, why do you care so much? You know what I mean? Like it depends. Like unless. So me and Ryan doing that Lil TJ June 22nd. Like, did the record label shoot that down because? Yeah, I mean it's an instant thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they've been looking at our YouTube and like, oh, nope, not on those guys. But it's like, what is their criteria for not wanting people to use their stuff? Like, so our YouTube isn't monetized, so that's money's not the reason. So what are you really upset about for people to not use other? If anything, you should be happy that we're promoting that song. You know what I mean? Like more people. I didn't even know about that song until we did the mix review. So if we had never done that, I probably would have never heard that song.
I think some of it is like they fear the potential of monetization and because of greed and stuff like that. Because there are like YouTubers that I watch and they do stuff on like Twitch or stuff like that. And they'll have people that take their, will record their whole Twitch stream and then they'll upload it on YouTube. And so it'll be like I'm Dante, he'll have his stream up, and then you'll have I'm not Dante, will take it and upload it. But typically those people are like, you can do that. I'm fine with you doing it. You just have to make the distinction that it's not me. And because typically like they're like, I mean, it's a little weird that you do it, but it's not hurting me. I'm still making money off of it. If you're trying to make money and you're helping put some of my videos out that like people that don't watch my Twitch will not see, like that's fine. Because it's still exposure for them. So they're still profiting off of what they're doing. And if two people are profiting, I mean, it's no problem.
We both eating.
Yeah.
But people don't want you eating off their plate.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing, because at the end of the day, you put out something. It's like, I couldn't even be mad. Like, I can understand it, because if we drop this or whatever, and somebody starts clipping our stuff, cool, I appreciate the funny clips and all that stuff, but then you start getting paid off of it. And I'm like, damn, you get more than I'm getting. You get like, I was like, I just put this out. And you putting, I was like, yeah, I understand why you would feel some type of way. And then I feel like a lot of people who make the content are very sensitive about their content. A lot of people, a lot of these, like you see, like especially in the like music industry, you see a lot of them are trained to deal with backlash, but a lot of them aren't at the same time. It's like, I was like, with no, like knowing you, I feel like if somebody was like, oh, this, you like, okay, cool. It's subjective. Like you said earlier, it's like, it ain't for everybody. Don't matter, it's for me. And then some everybody not thinking like that. You put out something now, niggas ready to shoot.
Yeah.
And they be like, oh, okay, so you like this, you want to talk Twitter fingers, all this stuff. It was a, I don't know if you guys ever watch All American. but it's the show I was saying,
It's
football
the football
show.
show,
Yeah, it's a
right?
football
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
So they branch out in different areas, and one of them was on an artist, and one of like the girl, she their friend, they developing one of the friends in the friend group, and she's an artist right now singing, and so they addressed the social media thing for her. They were like, hey. We got you a bigger following, all this stuff. She was getting a lot of followers and everything, and then she started getting the hate comments. And then when the hate comments and the haters started coming through, she couldn't handle it. She was in there basically. She was on IG Live talking, and then she was like, "Hey, how everybody doing? So and so, good time, good time." Next thing you know, somebody was like, "Oh, they were like industry plant." So and so and so. They were just giving her all the words, and she was like, "Industry plant." I was like, she started going off on the phone to one of the girls in the coffee shop that she was in public, going off. And they came over and was like, "Hey, what you got going on? Like, what you got going on?" But then I was like, damn, that's real. I was like, is that something that really happens to these artists? Like, they having like these breakdowns. That's why a lot of people don't share their personals. And like, how far do you go with being personal with your people? Because the more you share, the more you're liable to people to get in.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's another reason why I think The Idol is such an amazing show. Had no idea what The Weeknd sounds like when he talks.
You did?
Really?
Yeah, because how often do you hear The Weeknd talk?
That's true.
That is true.
He's singing all the time. He does no interviews. He never shows up on TV shows or anything. So it's like, oh wow, we're actually just listening to The Weeknd just talk instead of making your girl's panties wet.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and that's something that artists have to think about. It's like how personal do you want to get with your fan base to let them into your life, because you don't know what they might do. Like somebody might know people you talk to, somebody you went to high school with, a girl you've been talking to, whatever. So you have to be able to be conscious of, I need to only let this in, and who you keep around, right? You might keep around the wrong person that ends up blabbing. You might not be the one who freaks out, but your friend might be the one who freaks out.
Yeah.
And they might release some information that shouldn't be out.
They be like, so ain't built like that. You know good and well, my nigga, we gonna pull up on you. Whoa.
Y'all know about Chief Keef. Everybody.
I do feel like some of that is for some people is fake, because the more outraged you are, more people will click on you and stuff like that. But as far as like being careful of like who you are close to and stuff like that, like what was his name? Long Beach Griffey had a story of when he first met Gideon, and they're from the same city. They know the majority of all the same people. Gideon's family watches Long Beach Griffey, and he was friends with, I think, his drummer or somebody like that. And so he wanted to speak to him, and Gideon didn't want to fuck with him like that. And so he was like, yeah, I mean, that was kind of weird. And I felt some type of way about it because they brought him like backstage to come talk to him. And then the guy was like, yeah, no, I hope you talk to him. And then Gideon was apparently in a bad mood or something like that. And then Long Beach Griffey was like, if I wanted to be an asshole, I know your ex and I know all the weird shit that you used to do with her. I could just say all of it, but I'm not. So, I mean, you got to be careful of stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta watch
And
yourself.
then go back to what you were saying about like them comments and stuff, man. That stuff is just algorithms and stuff, like, because you got to pay attention. On Instagram, you're gonna get a lot of love, but if you go anywhere else, like Facebook, it's different, and it should be no reason. It should all be around the same thing, right? Because everybody on the same thing, right? So everybody gonna show love on Instagram.
Different platforms bring different things.
Facebook,
Well, it's
is
because
the gut.
different platforms have different core audiences. So, like, if you're on TikTok, it's degenerate because there's a shit ton of children on there that just like to be mean for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
But if you're on, like you said, Instagram,
It's more business oriented.
if you're on Facebook, I mean, they're
It's
weird.
old
They're-
ass
yeah.
demons on there.
Now they got you got Twitter and you got Instagram threads now.
I would say Twitter's a lot of probably our age group. Like if you're in your if you're in your mid 20s to probably early 40s, I think Twitter came out in like your prime. So I think Twitter is like we're respectful, but it's like don't try me. Like that's
It depends on
It
the
depends on
side.
what.
yo.
Yeah, I was about to say, it depends on what side of
Depends on
Twitter
what
you're
side,
on.
yo.
Yeah.
But dealing with like hate and stuff like that, I think it just depends on the type of person. Like any hate comments or anything like that doesn't bother me. I used to play Call of Duty on the 360.
Exactly.
Like there's nothing that anybody can say that would bother me.
Yeah.
So I like. All that stuff doesn't matter. And most of the time, it's not even people that really believe the shit that they say. They just kind of say it because they want to get a reaction out of you or they live a shitty life. So they want to kind of bring you down
Yeah.
to their level. And if
That's
you
more
understand,
Facebook than
yeah,
anything.
if you understand that, you're just like, oh man, I
must
bet you
suck
live
to
a
suck.
sad ass life.
It sucks to suck.
Yeah. I posted the same video on Instagram and Facebook. Completely different.
Completely.
Night and day.
That's another thing that artists have to be conscious of. Like you can't post the same content on all platforms expecting the same kind of results. Like you have to understand who your audience is on Facebook, who they are on Twitter, who they are on TikTok, who they are on Snapchat. Like all these different things, you have to understand who your audience is on those things, and then cater to them the way they are.
I was about to say one of the questions that just popped up in my head that we had was as far as social media, do you feel? Because some artists don't give a fuck about, like, so they don't really care about it. They're like, I'm gonna dip off and out. But like as a upcoming artist, do you and like a continuous artist, do you feel like that's the bread and butter of today's game? You need to have some type of presence in order to be at this point paid, honestly, because you can be significant and be broke,
Yeah.
but like getting paid.
I mean, you can, yes, because you can just spread your web way further than you can just going outside and handing your music out to the people in the area. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, most people don't want to do it. I don't technically want to do it, but I mean, you just got to deal with it some way in the way that you
feel
want to
you.
deal with
Yeah,
it.
we don't want to do it either. But we got to.
Yeah.
I think too. What really helps is when you get to that level where you're not even needing to share your stuff, other people are just sharing it,
Yeah.
and you'll be like, well, I didn't even post this to Facebook, but you'll see somebody else did, and and then people are like fucking with it and stuff like that. And I think that's something too.
What we said?
No, I was just agreeing with him.
I was about to say, as far as that, I think that when you get to that point is when you can hit your second stride. Because your first stride, I feel like you're going hard, you night and day with it, you pushing it out, you're pretty much in charge of most of it. And then we say like getting that team together, getting to figure out who can help and who can get these things together. And when you hit that second stride, I feel like it's just full creativity. And that's when people start coming up with wild stuff. Like your first stuff, like you look at artists like first work, it's gritty, it's I'm dirty, it's I need to eat. I'm rapping like this is my last meal. And then they see, they get a little comfortable. Get a little comfortable, people helping out, things get a little bit smooth. Or some people, in some cases, they still hungry. But then when you get to the point where you dip off and we don't see you as much, is when you come out of nowhere with something crazy.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, you've been gone.
Yeah,
But you've been here the whole time. You just haven't been available for the rest of everybody else.
You can't expose it. Couldn't let nobody fuck up the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the beauty of walking in and being creative. I can walk in and do it all.
I think that's a very important thing to be able to, make that decision ahead of time. Am I going to let people know what I'm doing or am I not? Because you can't go back. Like when we were making the Come to DMG album, I had already decided I was going to document the whole thing and turn it into a movie. And then like at the end, people were like, oh man, that'd been really cool if you caught footage of it. I was like, I did. I just haven't been posting it because I'm going to make a movie about it. So
Yeah. I feel that.
Yep.
How much time have we got?
Let's see. We are, because I'm going off of, let me see. Call it 5:02. So we got 4 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to end it off, I guess I'll ask both of you two different questions. What do you have anything new coming, or stuff that you've been working on?
Right now, and I'm gonna piggyback off what we were just talking. I'm in that phase where I'm kind of like ducked off, but I'm still posting stuff to let people know I'm still doing it. But I'm working on stuff on the side.
Yeah,
So
you
not
just dipping
for
your
sure.
toe in a little bit. and
Dipping
just-
my toe in
You
here
know,
and there.
hyperbolic time chamber right now.
Yeah, sticking and moving, dipping and dabbing, in and out. Just trying to, right now I'm just doing more features than anything. Just trying to get in tune with the community, and then I'm working on what I want to, put out next for my next stage.
That's good.
So still go, stream Grind Until You Shine on all
yeah.
platforms right
Stream it
now.
on all.
COFFEY.
Make sure we put in all the descriptions and everything
We gotta
like
get
that.
we gotta get the links.
Yeah.
And then I guess for Jackson, do you have any other moves that you're trying to do or things that you've thought of new for DMG and stuff like that?
Just come to DMG is a movement. That's a movement right there. I was like, well, they finna go. I was like, they finna go travel the country. What's going on? What we doing do?
Yeah, so
getting
basically, right now, the thing that we're really focused in on for Damage Media Group is making connections with businesses. So I've been reaching out to other companies and letting them know like what we do, and to make sure that they know that we can help support them, whether it be with actual like a trade in money, or if it's just us just providing a service that help, just like how we do with our artists. Like we tell them, hey, just tell us what you need, and we'll help you get to where you need to go. So kind of doing the same thing for companies. And then also for the artists, we are going to start like a subscription service where basically you pay us a certain amount every month, and then we provide multiple services for you. So that's something that we are in the works of putting out. Haven't been out as far as like publicly, but we've been just telling people about it and getting the word to them. So yeah, that's really our main thing, is making sure that we get as much people to know about all the things that we can do here, because we have so many things that a lot of other companies don't provide, or they just suck at. Right. So I know some companies around here just do stuff, but they're doing just that. They're just doing it. They're not really doing a good job at it. So
Making those connections and whatnot.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I really hope can land Damage Media Group like in that upper echelon of other companies, is not just doing something, but making sure that we're one of the best in the city at doing it, and then branching out in the country from there.
It's the difference when you can accelerate and give back at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
And for what you're talking about, like as far as like the subscription and stuff like that, would that just be music, or other people trying to do stuff like what we're doing and stuff like that?
Yeah, so basically we're really starting out with the music artists first, because we have so many of them come by the space. And then I really wanted to, like, my ultimate goal, which I don't know if I'll ever be able to accomplish this, but I've been striving for it, is having like TEDx type things in Memphis. Like, I know there's been a TEDx in Memphis, but I wanted to put on this thing to where like we get some of the best teachers from Memphis, and by teachers I mean some of the best videographers and musicians, and like imagine if you had a class held by Fraser Boy on how to rap, you know what I mean, or Juicy J or something like that, or people who were just in this area, from this area, doesn't matter, whatever, holding a class and teaching people on how to do something so they can get real expertise and information. Like
How to Ride the Beat by Project Pet.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Memphis doesn't have opportunities like that very much. Most of that is in like Nashville and stuff like that.
Correct. And you can do that here. It's just I don't think anybody's ever thought to make the effort to do it. And that's something I'm an educator. Like, I've understood that, and I love teaching people. I love giving people information. Some people are afraid to give people information because they're like, oh, you're just going to steal my stuff. I tell people, steal my stuff. Like, take everything from me, because it's going to be great seeing you do something, and I know you got that from me. And if anything, you're going to create something even better. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I didn't think you could do that. Like, I'm glad I told you that, because now I know you can do that.
Just uplifting the community, and that's what this city don't got. Like, folks trying to uplift folks.
Yeah.
It's an olive branch.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we try to do here. You know, you've helped us with so many things.
Tremendously.
And exactly. And I'm the type of person, like, if you're helping me, I have to help you back, because it only feels right to me. And I try to bring up all the people that help bring me up too. So it's not like, everybody's just pushing you up, and then when you get up there, you just walk away.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm turning around so I can pull all y'all back up here too.
Yeah, I think that's what me. I'm going to sound like the biggest outsider when I say this, but people from Memphis who made it big in the music industry, namely, I will say like 3 6 Mafia, people like Yo Gotti, they basically got big and they didn't educate the generations after them. So I think it is important. Again, I don't think that was their responsibility. I don't think that was their fault. I don't think that was a problem that they did. I'm just saying.
It's an observation.
Yes, it's an observation I made that I feel like it would have been a good deed if they had did that. And this city would be 10 times ahead of where it's at if they had did something like that. They had the tools, they had the education, they had the resources. They could have helped generations after them. And Memphis is big now, but it would be exploded if they had did something like that.
We would have been Atlanta before Atlanta was Atlanta.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we're known for having big artists come from here, but
They leave.
yeah,
Yeah.
They
and
get up
it's you don't just go, oh well, this person was here, and if I go here, then maybe I'll learn from somebody to help them. No, you don't get that.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they make it, they leave, and it's understandable. Memphis is
little
Memphis.
Memphis is Memphis. Yeah.
Memphis is
So like I
Memphis.
do get it.
Yeah.
But a lot of that comes from it's just unsafe. So I understand people leaving, and it's not your responsibility to do those things. But if you want to do it, then I think it's beneficial.
It's
too.
like, yeah, if you have the opportunity to capitalize, it's like where I see where you are bringing up other artists who have the power to do that. Like, yeah, maybe during your time you didn't have that, so then you have your next generation. Like, you got Glorilla bringing in all her friends, and she's underneath CMG. So it's like you got her bringing in all her crew. Then they got mixes of people, and then it's like, all right, cool, you're bringing it in, but it's still technically in house. It's not helping everybody, but it's helping some. But that's just kind of like Memphis in general. It's kind of like I gotta figure it out, and when I figure it out, then I can help you figure it out. And that's been the mentality so long. But a lot of people who had a mentality were just around a lot of dumb stuff. They're around a lot of fools, and they were in a lot of situations. And so coming from the background where, like, when I'm like talking to you and stuff like that, educator was the first thing you gave me when we first started talking. We first started like doing business and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this dude's trying to teach me in the process of doing business. That's not what you get from a lot of people. They're just like, how can you help me?
Yeah. Or it would just be like, okay, well, you're paying me, I'll do this, and then it's nothing else after that. You simply just have a relationship of just paying each other and stuff like that. And at first, obviously, that's how it started. But we had a conversation with you, and you were just like, "Oh shit! Like this is something completely different." You know, so I think more people need to have stuff like that. But you know, it just depends. You can't help everybody, and not everybody wants to listen to criticism and stuff
And they
like
won't.
that.
A lot of people hard headed out here.
That is true.
As soon as you try to tell them something, they be like, "What you think I don't know nothing?" It's like,
But that
no, I
is-
know you don't.
Yeah, I know.
But that is Memphis.
That's facts.
Yeah.
That is Memphis. I'm about to say, you got anything else for us?
Nah, I'm straight, bro.
For sure. Hey, we appreciate you guys. Appreciate Coffee and Jackson coming through again for another installment of Down with the Get Down. We appreciate the listeners and the viewers who came through this time. Always make sure you rate us 5 stars. We really appreciate it. Helps us move up the algorithm. Helps us get more listeners like you guys and more viewers like the YouTube viewers. We love you. We appreciate you. And to the people that are on Twitch right now, we appreciate y'all for the last episode of the day for this one. Y'all be back, and we're gonna do this again sometime, and we're gonna have it bigger and better each time. We appreciate you. We love you. And go ahead and like, share.
And if you're down with the get down, go ahead and subscribe.